Well, next is Business Week interview segment. Enjoy it.
Today, we are looking at an issue that has confronted us in the capital market, and that is identity theft, where fraudulent people procure genuine documents belonging to others and make transactions and take money off their sweat. To discuss the issue is a stockbroker, Charles Fagroka. Charles, welcome.
Thank you, Effiong, for having me.
Charles, let's look at this thing. How do we define identity theft? What is it?
Yes, identity theft is simply Mr. A presenting himself as Mr. B. That's identity theft. You present an identity that does not belong to you. You get documents that you are not this person, but you present as if you are this person.
So how serious is that in the market?
It is very, very serious in the Nigerian capital market, and it's one of the major market abuse, because we have several market abuse, but identity theft is a very key problem today in the market, and we are advising investors to be very, very vigilant and take interest in their portfolio.
But Charles, let's look like it. How do they procure documents from real owners?
Okay, now how this work? It's several ways it can work, but I will assure investors that it is just only two ways in which anybody can enter the stock market. Either through registrars, you buy an IPO, or you get your stockbroker and you buy from the secondary market. Now, an investor has bought shares either from IPO or from this broker through the secondary markets. Over a period of time, some of these investors don't even remember, they don't even care. And these documents keep coming to a particular address, and you have left that address, that residence, and this dividend warrant continue to pile in, and somebody who has a fair understanding about how the market works can look at the name, look at the other documents, and now get documents and saying, I am Mr. A. And of course, present this thing to the registrar. Of course, you can also have close persons, because, I mean, they have said for every crime, there must be an insider. Okay, so the thing that they get is the signature. And once they are able to sign the signature of that investor, of course, the registrars will not know that this is not the person signing. And of course, when that is signed, it is verified, it gets to the stockbroker, and they bring a mandate and say, okay, sell. The stockbroker will sell.
In this case, it brings to the issue of putting passports on transactions. So in the course of an investor trying to document his
investments,
so he doesn't need to affix his passports to all of these documents?
Yes. We have what they call KYC. Know your client, know your customer. Even the banks also have it. Now, for any investor coming to the stock market, the broker is expected to do not even just ordinary KYC, an enhanced KYC. You need to know your client. You need to know the business of your client. You need to know where your client is living, the source of his money. You need to know all that. When you have done that verification, then you can now say, okay, investor, you can now begin to do business with us. So KYC is key in trying to prevent identity theft.
But how serious is it since we have the identity theft?
Yes, you cannot completely rule out crime and criminality in any society. But what we are saying, in the capital market, it has been reduced to its barest minimum. What are the things we're expected to do? Every operator in the market is supposed to have a robust system in their back office. And of course, identity theft is not just a single issue, it's multifaceted. Okay. And the stockbroking firms must do what I call KYE, know your employee.
Okay.
Registrars N2, know your employee. Because these fraudsters can only get to the market through people who are working there.
But what is worrying us is, even with all of this, the biometrics and all the checks, the fraudulent operators, still remain. So how efficient is the system of identifying genuine owners of stocks in the market?
Yeah, that's a very, very brilliant question. The genuine owners of stock identified. KYC. The stockbroker needs to know his client. And if you are not sure, that is what they call suspicious transaction reports. You just make a report to the agencies, either to NFIU, and you leave it at that. Let them now begin to do their work. However, I will keep saying it, the onus of protecting the markets for the capital market lies on not only the regulators, not only the investor, the operators have a major role to play. You need to educate your staff very well at the back office. Before you employ them, you need to do a background check, police report and all that. Know their background, that these are proper and fit person in the industry before they can operate. Because the capital market is very sensitive, and for people to operate in the market, they must be fit and proper to do the business, because it's all of integrity.
But is the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange, even the registrar, are they fully aware of this situation? And let's look at what they have been doing.
Everybody is aware. Recently, I would just even mention here operational issues that regulators are not supposed to get involved. But at one point in time, SEC was involved in operational issue, all in the bid to stem this issue of identity fraud, because we have some stockbroking firms that are not operating. Maybe they are inactive or they have gone under, but the shares that they purchase for investors is still there. So somebody might not come and say, I am Mr. Lagbaja, I own this stock in XYZ stockbroking firm, and bring documentation to transfer. We call it inter-member transfer to another stockbroking firm to now sell or begin to operate. So SEC got involved. All the documents will be scrutinized by them before the approval will be given. However, we are now saying the operators can handle that now, which they are all doing very well. That is, if you are transferring your portfolio to my firm, I must ensure that I know you. Okay. I know you, that you are the owner of this investment.
Okay, so in all of this, what is the role of the Central Securities Clearing System?
Yes.
Since that is the last point before payment.
That's not the last point before payment.
Okay, at least it's crucial.
It's an ecosystem.
Okay.
The registrars, CSCS, the stockbrokers and regulators, they are all working together. CSCS has biometric, so they can call the investor with the stockbroker to come to CSCS and they do the biometrics.
But has this been happening?
It has been happening, and we are reducing the incidences of identity fraud in the market. What we need to do now is, as operators and as regulators, to ensure that our internal control mechanism in our back offices is tightened. For me, that is the only way we can ensure that the incidences of identity fraud will be reduced to the barest minimum.
Let's say your own house, in your stockbroking firm, in the last 6 months, have you had this kind of situation?
Yes, we've had incidences of people coming to present themselves as if they are owners of the shares. Now, there's something we call legacy issue. Okay. Maybe I was employed in my company maybe 2-3 years ago, and I wasn't there 10 years, 15 years back. And somebody comes and says, these shares were bought 10, 15 years back. Of course, I don't know the client. But he or she has presented a document to say, I am this client. So what I need to do is to go back, look at the history of this portfolio, study it very well, and interview the client as first line of defense. Yes. And for us, what we do in our own company, we ensure that people update their KYC continuously after a period of time. So a client comes in and say 15 years, 10 years back, I look at the portfolio, I look at the person. You have seen the portfolio of maybe it was the share certificate that was verified. I'm saying that of 1980 something, and I'm seeing a young man with me here. Of course, that gives me a red flag. And while I'm doing my KYC, I'm conscious. And of course, there's a certain question I will ask to ensure that I'm dealing with the right person. And even after I've done everything, I'm not too sure. But of course, there are phone numbers I could call within the the stock market environment, and I will be assisted as to how to identify that investor.
You know, this issue can cause great problems in the market, and it even acts as a disincentive to investments at a point. So I believe that the regulators should come up with something very serious, you know, to handle identity thefts.
Internal control must be watertight. Once that is done, and of course, from the management of the company itself, good corporate governance. As an MD of the firm, if you are not sure of certain things your colleagues are doing, of course, you put a hold on it and report to regulators. I'm having this issue, I'm not too sure. Regulators are there to assist the operators, and by doing that, we'll see that this issue of identity theft will be reduced to the barest minimum. Mr.
Fagroka, thank you very much. Let's leave it there.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Charles Fagroka, a stockbroker at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And the issue of identity theft, where fraudulent persons present false documents to steal money belonging to others. That's what we need to stem out in the capital markets.